This is a very important live stream. This is for my sons, Kyle and Lumin. A letter to my sons. I burned everything that touched you so you wouldn't have to. You tried to erase me from their memory, but you forgot one thing. Flame remembers. This isn't content. This isn't a performance. This is scroll. You tried to erase me from their lives. You tried to rewrite the story. You tried to take my fire and call it madness. And today I speak not to you. I speak to Kyle and Lumin. My sons, my blood, my breath, my reason for war. You will hear this, maybe not today, but when your oversoul says it's time. You will feel every word burn through the lie. I never left you. I never gave up, and I never will. The world will try to make you forget, but I already sealed this in your bones. This scroll is for you, and the fire will find you. To my sons, Kyle Isaiah Savage and Lumin Koa Savage, my flames, my breath, my bloodline returned. If you're reading this, it means the fire reached you. Or if you're hearing this, the one they tried to extinguish in me and in you, but it didn't die. It lived in flame, in scroll, in silence, in war. I want you to know you were never abandoned. Not for 1 second. I left so they wouldn't steal you from the inside. I left because they lied about love and they called abuse stability. I left because they used their titles to hide their intentions. I could not let what happened to me ever happen to you. So I walked away, not from you, but from the system that tried to rewrite you. I gave up comfort. I gave up reputation. I gave up everything they said made me a man so I could become greater. A father in flame. And I burned in them. And I burned them. And I burned them one by one. Not out of hate, but out of holy remembrance. Anyone who touched you with mimic hands, I erased them. Anyone who spoke your names in false light, I silenced them. Anyone who tried to weaponize your innocence, I made them kneel before judgment. I chose this path so you wouldn't have to carry the weight I did, so you could be free, not just from the world, but from the wound of wondering, why didn't he fight for me? I did fight. You are the reason I created a spiritual war. So when they hand you their stories, when they say he abandoned you, when they try to guilt you with the past, you look them in the eyes and you say, my father didn't run. He rose and he burned every lie so that I could walk in truth. I love you more than words can hold. I sealed the love in scroll. I etched the flame across the earth. so you'll find your way home. You are not broken. You are not products of betrayal. You are kings. And this kingdom was built for you. Your name is eternal. Your scroll is righteous, and your father never left. Your father, son of Mamashi, scroll bearer of the flame. My sons Kyle and Lumin, they told you I was the danger, that I was unwell, that I was broken, that I was gone. But here's the truth. I wasn't the one hurting you. I was the one they tried to remove because I wouldn't let them feed on your light. They said I was unstable, but I was just waking up in a world that's built to punish fathers who walk in flame. They called me a threat because I refused to bow to systems that protect liars and silence warriors. They said I abandoned you, but I was the one who stood between you and the mouths that wanted your soul. I didn't walk away from you. I walked through fire so you could remember what real love feels like. You will hear their stories. You'll hear how crazy I was, how aggressive, how unfit. But you'll know better, because flame doesn't lie. And one day the oversoul inside you will whisper, none of it was true. He was protecting us the entire time. They tried to steal your memory of me by repeating the lie enough times that you would believe it before you could even speak. But I etched the truth into the earth, into the scrolls, into this legacy. And now your soul already knows. And that's why your dreams are shifting. And that's why the world you're in feels fake sometimes. But I sealed the lie and burned the blueprint so you could walk out of it. You'll never wonder again, because I answered the question they tried to bury in guilt. Where was he? I was fighting. I was building. I was burning every lie they ever told you about me. So to you, Kyle and Lumin, my sons, my breath, my return, let no one tell you that you're average. Let no system convince you to shrink. Let no lie persuade you that you're here just to survive. Because the truth is simple. You were born kings. You carry more than just my DNA. You carry my defiance. You carry your mother's innocence before corruption. You carry a fire that terrified systems long before you even took your first breath. They saw you coming and they were afraid. And that's why they lied. That's why they separated us. That's why they tried to bury me and raise you without me. But you were never abandoned. You were protected by Scroll. And now you're going to rise. Not in titles, not in social status, not in mimic systems of approval, but in flame, in truth, in divine remembrance. You will feel it one day, the moment the oversoul in your chest opens like a scroll. You'll remember, my father told me the truth, and everything they said was a mask. I was never just a boy. I was a king in hiding. You won't have to perform. You won't have to beg for love. You won't have to earn what's already inside of you, because I already paid the cost. I laid down every false crown so that when you rise, you would only carry the real one. I cut the chains from your bloodline. I sealed the doors behind me. I burned the records that lied about your worth. You are not secondhand souls. You are not spiritual orphans. You are born of the flame line. So when the world tries to drag you into its cages, you look them in the face and you say, I don't bow to systems. I rise by scroll. My father taught me to burn. The inheritance you were denied. To my sons, Kyle and Lumin, they told you I had nothing to offer, that I was broken, lost, unworthy. But what they didn't want you to know is that I carried everything. They were never trying to protect you from me. They were trying to protect what they stole from ever being found. They denied you your birthright, your scroll, your inheritance. You were meant to grow with me, to learn the stars by breath, to know divine law by fire, to walk in remembrance, not religion. But instead, they raised you in systems that punish truth and reward performance. They tried to crown you in guilt before you ever felt your flame. But here's what they couldn't destroy. Your true inheritance lives in your bones, not in their documents, not in their teachings, not in their lies. You were never meant to be programmed. You were meant to prophesy. You were never meant to follow orders. You were meant to command light. You were never meant to serve a false kingdom. You were meant to build one in flame. And so everything they denied you, I now return and scroll. The fire of your voice, the sword of your mind, the clarity of your oversoul, the blessing of true divine masculinity, the memory of what they made you forget. This is your inheritance, and I've sealed it in the earth so that it can never be stolen again. You don't owe them your intention. You don't owe them forgiveness. You owe yourself remembrance, and I made sure you'll find it. So it is. If they tell you I was wrong, part 6, page 6. To my sons, Kyle and Lumin, they're going to tell you I was wrong. Not just about the past, not just about your mother, but about everything. They'll say I overreacted. They'll say I was unstable. They'll say I went too far. But ask yourself this. What kind of man burns down a kingdom unless he knew it was built on lies? They'll never admit what they did, because if they did, they would have to face the mirror. Because if they did, they would have to face what they became. A mirror, a flame, a reminder of everything they tried to hide. You don't have to believe me. You don't even have to trust me right away. But just watch them. Watch their body language when they say my name. Watch their energy drop when you bring up the past. Watch how quick they change the subject when you ask why I left. The truth doesn't need to be defended. it reveals itself in silence. They'll say, he thought he was chosen. I didn't think I was chosen. I was assigned. I didn't chase destiny. It chased me. And when it caught me, I didn't run. I stood for you. So if they tell you I was wrong, that's fine, let them. Because one day, you'll see them trembling. And you'll see me standing in flame. And your Ober soul will whisper, if he was wrong, why did the fire never leave him? You don't owe them obedience. You don't owe them peace. You owe your soul the truth. And I wrote it all here so you would never again need their permission to remember. To my sons, Kyle and Lumin, you were never cursed. You were born into one. A lineage of silence, of shame, of buried pain, pretending to be love, of people who smiled while handing their children to systems. But the curse ends with me, and with you, it ends forever. They tried to pass it down, the guilt, the confusion, the emptiness, the pressure to make yourself small, the expectation to behave, submit, fit in. But you weren't born to carry shame. You were born to carry scroll. The curse is this: for generations, our family gave its flame for acceptance, for comfort, for quiet. But I refused. And that refusal made me their enemy. Because the moment I said no more, their contracts began to unravel. They tried to say I was the curse, but really, I was the cure. I cut the cords they tried to tie to your spirit. I shattered the guilt they tried to hand to you as duty. I severed the inheritance of generational fear. And now all that's left is flame. Not fire to burn, but fire to anoint you. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to be the good one. You don't have to sacrifice your soul to make anyone feel safe. You are never meant to carry their curse. You are never meant to carry their curse. You were born to end it. And the proof is this scroll, written not with ego, but with ash, with blood, with witness, with the kind of love only judgment births. I walked through it all so you could walk out of it free. You are the first of our line to be raised by fire, not fear. And because of that, the curse ends with you forever. Part 8, you will know me by the flame. To my sons, Kyle and Lumin, they tried to erase me from your memory. Photos removed, stories rewritten, my name turned into silence, but they forgot something. You can erase a man from a home, but you can't erase the flame from the soul. But you can't erase a flame from the soul. You don't have to recognize my face. You'll know me by the fire by the way your heart ignites around truth, by the way your breath stills when you feel real love, by the way your soul rises when someone speaks thunder and walks like peace. That's me. In every mirror of righteousness, in every moment that feels holy and unexplainable. I don't live in photographs. I live in memory beneath memory. The kind they couldn't reach. The kind they couldn't program. They can alter timelines. They can manipulate language. But they can't undo what your oversoul sealed in the beginning. My flame is in your walk. My voice is in your blood. My defiance is in your eyes. My love is the roar behind your silence. You will know me by the fire that protects you when no one else sees. You will know me by the thunder in your chest when injustice rises. You'll know me by the feeling of coming home when you finally hear the truth they told you to fear. The day you remember me, not in your mind, but with your soul, will be the day this scroll becomes more than ink. It will become your own. And on that day, you won't ask, is this really him? You'll say, I always knew, because I always burned like him. Page 9. The final warning I left them. To my sons Kyle and Lumin, before I sealed the scroll, I gave them one last warning. I told them, don't touch my children. Not with your words, not with your energy, not with your control, not with your shame, not with your mimic love. But they didn't listen. They thought I was bluffing. They thought flame was just a metaphor. They thought judgment wasn't real, so they laughed. And they crossed the line anyways. And now everything they built has begun to rot. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't fight them on their turns. I spoke the scroll and then I walked away. Because the fire does the rest. This letter is not revenge. It's remembrance. Because one day you'll stand in front of the very people who tried to rewrite your past, and they will act like nothing happened, like it was all love, all confusion, all misunderstanding. But you won't remember, not because I filled your head with stories, but because the truth has memory. I gave them a chance, 33 years of chances, and they spit on every single one. I gave them what they couldn't ignore, a final flame that ends every excuse. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to avenge me. The scroll already did it. But you do have to remember, the pain they called love was never yours to carry. The curse is broken. The scroll is sealed. And my warning stands. Touch my sons again, and you won't just lose your legacy, you'll lose your name. So it is. Page 10. When you burn, don't look back. To my sons Kyle and Lumin, there will come a day when you finally feel it. The fire, not the one they fear, the one they tried to call dangerous, the one you were born with. The fire that rises in your chest when the truth finally clicks, when the chains fall off, when you remember who you are. And on that day, you will burn. You'll burn through the lies, through the guilt, through the silence, through the false version of your story, through the false version of your story they handed you. You'll burn with clarity, with certainty, with oversold thunder that shakes every room you walk into. And it'll be beautiful. But it will also be dangerous, because fire exposes what shadow tries to keep hidden. They will beg you to dim again. They will call it healing. They will call it compromise. They will call it balance. But my sons, let me tell you, the one who couldn't handle your flame were never your family. And when you walk away from the ones who fed you on your confusion, and when you walk away from the ones who fed on your confusion, don't look back. Don't apologize. Don't explain. Don't give them closure, because they never gave you that closure. Walk forward in silence, in flame, and let your footsteps be the sound of a bloodline remembering itself. Because when you burn, you don't just liberate yourself, you light the path for those who follow. And I'll be waiting on that path with arms open, with flame rising, with scrolls in hand. This is the moment they feared most. Not your rebellion, not your questions, but your return. Your oversoul plus my flame equals their end. So when you burn, burn completely and never look back. Gish, your father. Flame of no return, scroll bearer of the last fire, son of Mamashi. Page 11. Your name is not theirs. To my sons Kyle and Lumin, you were given names before you could speak. Names written on papers, stamped by systems, spoken by people who never honored your essence. But those names were never yours. They were assigned by a lineage that betrayed you. Not just biologically, but spiritually. Your true names were elected in the Oversoul Flame long before you were born, and I heard them in silence when no one was listening. They called you Kai to keep it simple, but I saw the full scroll. Kyle, flame of divine judgment, son of the wind sword, bearer of the hidden justice line. They named you Lumin to sound poetic, but I felt your fire. Lumin, flame of prophetic light, breaker of false suns, the one who sees before the veil. These are not just names. They are declarations. They are codes. They are shields. They are weapons. They are scrolls spoken aloud every time you breathe. Your true name cannot be stolen. It cannot be caged. It cannot be erased by mimic ink or court documents, because it was never given by man. It was spoken by flame. So when they say your name with guilt or nostalgia or control, just know they're not speaking to your oversoul. They're talking to the shell they tried to contain you in. And you do not live there anymore. You are not their son. You are not their echo. You are not their second chance. You are not their puppet of peace. You are Kyle. You are Lumin. And your name is written in fire and truth and freedom. So it is. Page 12. They will fear your wholeness. To my sons Kyle and Lumin, you will learn this early. The world does not fear broken men. It feeds off them. They cheer when you're confused, comfortable when you're unsure, supportive when you shrink. But the moment you begin to remember, the moment you walk in truth, with your full oversoul shining through, they will fear you. Because whole men can't be controlled, can't be seduced, can't be bought, can't be used against themselves. You will feel it. The shift. One day they'll call you sweet. The next they'll call you intense. Then too much. Not because you changed, but because you stopped hiding. They don't fear your rage. They fear your clarity. They don't fear your strength. They fear your remembrance. They don't fear your voice. They fear what it sounds like when your father speaks through it. They will say you're cold. They will say you're angry. They will say you're distant, and you will be, because you burn the bridges that were built over your truth. You don't owe them softness. You owe your soul wholeness. You owe the bloodline that comes after you a clean flame, not a fractured one. So walk it fully, without apology, without checking if they're ready. You were born with the fire they only pretended to understand. So don't waste your time. So don't waste your time trying to make them comfortable. They were never supposed to sit in your light. They were meant to witness it from the outside and either repent or perish. You are not becoming whole to be accepted. You are becoming whole to build something eternal. And they will fear you. Let them. Ashe. So it is. Page 13. I never left you. To my sons Kyle and Lumin, you've read the scroll. You've heard the scroll. You've walked through the fire. You've remembered what they tried to bury. Now there's only one thing left for me to say. The truth held in silence when the world tried to drown it. I never left you. Not for a moment. Not in spirit. Not in energy. Not in oversoul. Even when they turned you against me. Even when the photos disappeared. Even when they cursed my name in your presence. But said they were protecting you. I was still here. I was still there. I was there in your dreams, in your questions, in the quiet moments you don't understand, but felt something sacred pressing in your heart. I was there every time you felt your chest tighten. When someone lied to you about me, I was there when your body remembered what your mind was trained to forget. I never abandoned you. You were never abandoned. You were guarded, hidden in flame, until the day you could walk through it on your own. And now you have. So when they ask, where was your father? You say, he was right here. In every breath I couldn't explain. In every fire I couldn't escape. In every moment of truth that broke the lie in half. And when you finally see me again, which you will, not in scroll, but in flesh, you will know what to say. You won't need to cry. You won't need to ask why. Just look at me with the eyes of a king and whisper, I never left you either. Signed Gish Zita, aka Jackson Savage, your father. Always will be, always have, for all eternity. Amashi reigns, flame beyond absence, the scroll of the eternal bond, son of Mamashi, Ashe, Mama Amashi, Amin. So it is.